everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Wednesday today, lovely day again here on the West Coast, and I'm here to do, it's a technique. It's a single layer, a one layer card, and I don't do these very often. I'm the first to admit that this is a bit of a struggle for me, but it is fun when you can come up with an idea for a single layer. So I'm going to use a new stamp set that is going to be available in the annual catalog starting on Tuesday. Can you believe it already will be May 6th on Tuesday? So the annual catalog goes live, as well as a whole bunch of new online exclusives. So you've seen some of those over the last month as I've been sharing some sneak peeks. So this one is called Peaceful View. I actually got this stamp set at Onstage in March when I went to Strasbourg, France. This was my prize patrol, and I'm actually really excited about it. Hey, Julie. In fact, I got a different stamp set, to be honest, in Prize Patrol, but one of the demonstrators in front of me turned and says, does anybody want this Peaceful View one? I'd rather trade for something else. And I said, absolutely, because I really love it. And so it is perfect for a one sheet or a one layer card. It is a background stamp, and I'm going to do some coloring with my sponge daubers, which I don't do very often. So let's get started. Fun to make this card. Okay, so these are the two new stamp sets that I'm using. The Right Words is for sentiment, all sorts of great words and combinations of words that you can use for the front of the card and the inside. I'm going to see, I'm not sure how much room I'm going to have because this is the stamp that I'm using for the front of the card, and it's called Peaceful View. So I'm going to use my sponge daubers to do some coloring. That way you can kind of blend colors. So I'm going to use Granny Apple Green and Garden Green for the leaves. And I'm going to use Early Espresso and Pecan Pie for the trunk of the tree and the fence. So we'll see how this goes. That's my plan. Okay, so I've got my single layer. This is a piece of thick basic white cardstock, and I've cut it 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm scoring it at 5 1/2. No other paper. That's why I'm not sure what sentiment I'm going to use. We'll see how much room I actually have to do for the front of the card. Okay, so I've scored this. So we're going to fold into the mountain or the raised line and give it a good burnish with our bone folder. Okay, that's the piece we're going to work with. And now this is the stamp. So it is a rubber stamp, full size. So I've got it on a block F, which I don't know that Stampin' Up! Still sells. If you don't have a block F to put it on, I find these very heavy and awkward to hang on to. So the other thing that you can do is I have got, in fact, I'll take it off of the block. I have got my stamp case here, and I'm just going to put it right inside. I've got my cling label on the back, and you can just keep it inside your stamp case, and then I'm going to fit my card over front of it, over the top of it. So, and that's what I would have done had I had it on the block. So a couple of ways that you can do this if you don't have that big block. Okay, I'm going to start with the tree trunk. So I'm going to use sponge daubers. You could use your blending brushes, but I find when I'm coloring on a big stamp like this, the sponge daubers, I can be a little bit more focused on where I'm applying. So I'm just going to take and sponge and daub where I want. You can just pick up more. I'm going to go just up the tree, and it's not going to be a perfect stamp because I'm applying different amounts of ink and different colors. Okay, and I start with my lightest as far as the two browns that I'm using. So now I've got my Early Espresso, and I'm just going to kind of go over my Early Espresso needs to be re-inked. So I'm just kind of rubbing along my fence rails and the posts. My bird is brown, but I'm going to go over it a little bit. And I'm going to go and add just a little bit of color, just not all over, but just add. You can kind of just daub some darker color. So you can start to see it's getting a little darker on the screen. I can see it. Okay, so got those two colors. Now I'm going to start with my Granny Apple Green and another sponge. Oof, this is a really juicy pad. So I'm just going to kind of go over some of these, some grass here. So if you want to be really particular about your the flowers, so I'm just daubing because I'm going to go over some of this with the dark green as well. We'll see. It's always a surprise what this looks like. So you could do you could do direct to rubber if you want to use your markers as another way to color this. Gives you a good way to kind of control. Maybe I'll do a combination of that because I'm a little worried about the rails. And this I'm daubing because I'm hoping this is going to look kind of like the branches. So that's enough of Granny Apple Green. And now I've got Garden Green, and this is a brand new ink pad. And I'm just gonna kind of go over that. These ones I didn't get any ink on. So hopefully that'll give kind of a multicolored sorry, I'm looking for a multicolored branches. Now I'm going to go over my my fence. So this is the direct to rubber with a Stampin' Write marker. You can't do this with your blends because they are alcohol markers and they dry way too quickly. But with your Stampin' Write markers, you absolutely can because they're water-based and they don't dry out. Okay, and then if I wanted to, I'm going to add a little bit of Old Olive here just to go over because I have a feeling some of this is, I've lost some of my color. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is what's called huffing, and I'm just going to take it, and you're just kind of putting your warm breath on, and now I'm going to just take, and fingers crossed, holding that in place, and I'm just going to grab a piece. This is I'm going to pull this out of the garbage, so let's just fold that up. I'm holding this so it doesn't shift. And then I'm just taking it and rubbing over with my hands to get the ink applied. So now, the moment of truth. Oh my goodness, how amazing, look at that. Wow, I had no idea it would turn out so pretty. So look, that was where I went over it with my Stampin' Write markers, and look, you can see where I kind of daubed it, and you've got the dark and the light. I am use early espresso, and I think that there is a sentiment that will fit on here. There's all sorts of really lovely sentiments on here. So I think, let's see, I was thinking I was going to so these are 90%. So these sentiments in this, the right words, are actually bigger than they appear. So that's why I'm struggling a little bit. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to do the happy birthday because I think it will fit. This feels like a card you could use for any occasion, including those really hard to make sympathy cards. Okay, so this is again a rubber stamp. This says happy birthday. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to use Old Olive, and I'm going to do every other letter in Old Olive. This is one of the great techniques that you can do with your Stampin' Write markers. You can color individual letters. You can do this on the photopolymer stamps. I do find that this technique with the Stampin' Write markers works best when you do it on rubber, but it does work on photopolymer. Again, you want to huff on it with your warm breath just to apply some moisture, and we'll see how straight we get this. Oh, how fun is that? What a lovely card. I'm really pleased. Like I said, I don't make one layer cards. It's very hard for me to make a clean and simple card. This isn't necessarily clean and simple, but one layer cards kind of are not in my wheelhouse. Now, these are the green hexagon embellishments that are part of the Turtle Suite from the new catalog. I have used a lot of them because they're part of the make and take that I'm sending out for my virtual launch, and so I've cut them. So let's just take, and I think these ones that are kind of the Old Olive color will look nice on here. So I'm just going to take and put, they come in two sizes, so I'll just take and put one there and one there. All right, and so we need something on the inside of the card. Happy birthday. How about we do this one? To someone worth celebrating every day. There we go. I like these stamp sets that have, where is the thing? I like the two stamp sets where they have the two sentiments that coordinate. You can put one on the front of the card and one on the inside of the card. And we're going to do the same technique as we did on the front, except I'm not doing individual letters. I'm going to do the top and the bottom row in Early Espresso, and then the middle row in says Celebrating. Again, on it, and fingers crossed I get it fairly straight. There we go. There we go, inside of the card. So that's my single layer card, or one layer card. Yeah, play with it. Think of other ideas. I thought of doing some masking. I thought that would be a fun idea, but then I remembered this brand new stamp, and I am so pleased I've played with it because I absolutely love the way that card turned out. All right, everybody. So Stampin' Up! Has announced it's National Scrapbooking Day on May 2nd and 3rd. So starting on Friday and Saturday, they're doing an event online that you can join in with. I think it's just on their Facebook channel or the Facebook group page. But to celebrate National Scrapbooking Day, or just because you want to, Stampin' Up! Is giving 2 times the Stampin' Rewards. So currently, with the new Stampin' Rewards program, you get 10% on orders in Canada of $25 or more. So you earn 10% in rewards that you can use on a future order. For 2 days only, May 2nd and 3rd, you can get 20% or 2 times the amount of Stampin' Rewards. So that means if you put an order in of $100, normally you would get $10 in rewards. Now you're going to get $20 in rewards that you can use on a future order. So it's perfect timing because the new catalog launches next week, new catalog and online exclusive. So you can save those rewards. You can use them on an order coming up, or you can save them up for up to a year. So save them until you've got enough to put to buy something you really want if it's a larger item. So that's a great deal. If you need anything, now's the time to stock up on some of those essentials and earn 2 times the rewards starting on Friday and Saturday. And then next week on May 6th, the new catalog and the online exclusives go live, so you'll be able to grab some of the new products that I've been sharing over the last month. If you don't have a catalog, you live in Canada, and you don't have a catalog and you don't have a demonstrator that normally sends you a catalog, please reach out. You can email me or leave a comment on this this live, and I'll reach out to get your address, and I will send you a catalog if you're interested, but only if you aren't a demonstrator and you don't have a demonstrator that you typically deal with. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Now, I won't be live again until Tuesday with my sketch challenge. I'm going to be away for a little bit. So in the meantime, hope you get some time to be in your craft room.